is brought to you by Head Start Basketball.
Coming soon, Head Start Basketball's cutthroat game building program debuts in September. Players in grades 5 through 10, you won't want to miss this. Registration opens on Monday, August 12th at www.headstartbasketball.com. Welcome to the 8th edition of the Coach's Corner Roundtable on the Hoopheads podcast. Each episode of the Coach's Corner Roundtable will feature our all-star lineup of guests answering a single basketball question. A new Coach's Corner Roundtable will drop around the 15th of each month. August Roundtable question is, we ask players to work on their game in the offseason. So what do you do as a coach to improve from year to year in terms of your own personal development? Our coaching lineup this month includes Erik Buehler from Chatfield Senior High School, Joe Harris, Lake Chelan High School, Nicola Gouge, Lane Tech High School, Kyle Pennington, Russellville High School, Don Showalter, USA Basketball, John Shulman, University of Alabama Huntsville, Joe's Decision, Unleashed Potential. Please enjoy this roundtable episode of the Hoopheads podcast, and once you're finished listening, please give the show a 5-star rating and review. Make sure you're subscribed to the Hoopheads pod so you never miss an episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube. If you haven't already, please tell a coaching colleague or friend about the Hoopheads podcast so they can listen and learn from some of the best minds in the game. Erik Buehler, Chatfield Senior High School, Littleton, Colorado.
This is Erik Buehler, head boys basketball coach at Chatfield High School in Littleton, Colorado. I'm here today to answer the question of what I do in the off-season to prepare myself and grow myself as a coach. First thing I do is I sit down and I try to look at what do I need to do to refill my bucket. How do I need to reconnect with my why of why I love coaching? For me, that looks like quite a few things, actually. I'll sit down and study. I like to read, exercise more. I try to pray and meditate and get my mental health in a better state than it was. And I try to go to camps. I've been to the Jay Billis camp the last 2 years, which has been a great experience. It's really helped me grow as a coach. It's really helped me make connections with people that are helping me grow, and hopefully I help them in some way as well grow. I go to college practices, other high school practices, try to learn from coaches, see what they do, pick up verbiage from them, things like that. I try to work on relationships. I try to get better at building, maintaining, growing relationships. It might be with my family, me as a coach, me as a teacher, all of those things. I try to keep getting better at being good at relationships. I look for 2 or 3 basketball-related things that I want to learn, master to the best of my ability, and take back to my team. Usually they're things that I think will help us have more success the next season. It might be offense, defense, drills, anything along those lines. And then finally, what I have found has really helped me the last 2 years, or last 2 off seasons, is reaching out to people and learning from them and just picking their brain and seeing if they have a way of doing something better as a coach, as a leader, as a teacher. It's so much easier than it used to be. I wish I would have done this more, though, as when I was a younger coach. And because through social media and email and phone calls, there's really no excuse in my mind to not do that anymore. So those are just a few things I do in the off season for my own personal development. Thank you for having me on.
Joe Harris, Lake Chelan High School, Lake Chelan, Washington.
Hello, Hoopshead Nation. This is Joe Harris at Chelan High School, jumping in on today's roundtable question. As coaches, we continually ask our players to get better, and we ask them to work individually and work collectively as a team, and we ask them to work in the off season. The question for us is, what are we doing as coaches to improve ourselves and to have continuous improvement for growth for both our players and our teams and ourselves. What are we doing in the off season to make ourselves better? And I believe that as a coach, you should have a strong passion for learning and improving, and a strong passion for that continuous growth that leads to the growth of your team and your players and yourself that you're looking for. Do you read in the off season? Do you reach out to other coaches? Maybe not just like-minded coaches, but other coaches who are great teachers of the game, and connect yourself with people who are intent on growing and becoming better. Because getting better, a little bit better each day is really what matters. And when those days add up, you're farther down the line as a player and a coach to seeking that success than you can. So really improving our craft should be a continuous movement towards getting better. You do that by reading. You do that by reaching out to other coaches. You do that by self-reflecting. All of these will help you and your program.
Nicola Gouge, Lane Tech High School, Chicago, Illinois.
This is Nicola Gouge from Lane Tech High School in Chicago. This month's question is, we ask our players to spend some time in the off-season to improve themselves. So what do we do as coaches in the off-season to improve? For me, it comes down to obviously continuing to be a student of the game and a student of life, trying to absorb as much knowledge as I can about the game. What I try to do is focus, each off season on some of our excellence gaps from the previous year, some things that we need to do to improve. And I look at a few things in the game, and I really try to spend some time and evolving in that arena. This off season, I really felt like I could have been better in ATO situations, and just end the clock, out of timeouts, just having some more plays that I can kind of draw up on the board. We take it from the board to the floor and just be a little bit better. So I want to just have some things going into this year, some different looks, some different sets, some different things I can do out of timeout that weren't predictable and that weren't something, that the other team really had scouted. So I spent a lot of time on that. And, for me, it was talking to other coaches, spending some time around, other coaches at camps and at clinics, and just trying to learn. And then obviously going through my files and going through, different notes that I've had from clinics in the past, getting on fast draw, and just spending time with people who I felt were really good in that arena. But then going back to that, another important thing I try to do in the off season, not just basketball wise, but just as a leader and as someone who's in the arena to impact lives, I just try to be around other thought leaders. So when I'm at camps, I work Snow Valley with you guys, and just try to be around people who are like-minded, and ask questions about what different coaches do with their programs to get players, to lead, different things you do for bonding, all that kind of stuff. And then finally, obviously a big piece of the summertime is actually getting some time to dive into books and to read a lot more. And for me, every summer try to get a couple books down, listen to podcasts, and just come back with some new ideas for the next year. So those are things that I do. I'm sure a lot of coaches, that we're talking to are pretty similar, but I think it's about growth in the summertime and things you can apply for the season. So hope this helps. Appreciate all you guys do. Talk soon.
Kyle Pennington, Russellville High School, Russellville, Arkansas.
Kyle Pennington, Russellville High School head boys basketball coach, Russellville, Arkansas. I think it's important to take some time off during the summer, whether that be a week, 2 weeks, or a month, to re-energize yourself and focus on yourself and your family. The next thing I do is spend time with some coaching colleagues, whether that's guys I've coached against in the past or friends or people that I've come in contact with. It's always good to talk the game with other coaches. Listening to podcasts and reading books are another way to grow as a coach during the off season. And then watching film of your team and watching film of other teams and things that you like to pick up. I love to watch Jay Wright's Villanova teams and how they use different offensive concepts. So just little things like that are things that can continue to help you grow as a coach.
Don Showalter, USA Basketball.
Don Showalter with USA Basketball. I think coaches in the offseason need to do several things to keep them sharp and improve their game as well. I think one of the reasons that coaches don't get better is because they don't spend some time in the offseason improving their craft. We ask players to improve their craft and get better, but sometimes coaches fail to do that. Obviously, going to clinics is a big part of, I think, what a coach should do. I think also working a camp that teaches the game of basketball, and you can learn how to teach certain things better, I think is important. But also just improvement, just a little bit each day, where you get to improve your craft. Maybe it's read a book, maybe it's speak to another coach, but you don't have to spend a lot of time each day, but just something a little bit each day that would improve your craft would go a long way over the course of a summer to become a better coach.
John Shulman, University of Alabama, Huntsville, and the 720 Sports Group.
Yeah, this is John Shulman. Question is, we ask our players to work on their game. So what do you do to work on your game? This has been a kind of a theme for me. Kind of drives me crazy. Coaches, whether it be high school or college or middle school or whatever, keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again. And we get upset with our players. They're not in the gym. We bust their tail in. Then we need to make an effort for us to get in the gym. So what do I do, and what do coaches need to do to work on their game? If you can't work on your game in this day and age, there's something wrong with you. You have videos, you have social media, you have everything at your fingertips, where when I was a young coach, I didn't have anything at my fingertips. But here's the deal, a couple things. Take a summer. Take an offensive scheme. Take how to shoot free throws better, how to play a 1-3-1 better. You can get clips of every Syracuse game there is and work on a 2-3, or West Virginia work on a 1-3-1, or even UAH and work on our offense, and let's see how much better you can get at that. You can take whatever and study that. Whatever you're interested in, study it. That is personal growth. Go to clinics, go to camps, go to coaches, go to practice and watch Rick Byrd coach without a whistle. You can do all this stuff, especially now in the summer when Division I's are able to be out there practicing. Every coach would love to have a high school coach or another college coach to watch them practice. So, what do you do to improve from year to year in terms of your own personal development? I'm just going to tell you, watch film on your games as soon as the season's over. No emotion whatsoever. Watch film and take the stuff that you like, move it on, get better. Take the stuff you don't like, chuck it aside and move on. But you always have to improve. You always have to be almost ready to say this, and I said this an awful lot. I would learn so much in the summer, I would almost be embarrassed on how bad I was as a coach the year before. If you can do that, that means you're getting better. So at the end of the summer, go, man, was I bad last year or what? I know so much more now than I did before. Or you're going to say, man, we'll just keep on doing what we're doing. It's working. So you can always improve, whether going to a clinic and taking one small minute thing from a coach. You can always get better. It don't have to be big. It can be small. So work on your game. You're asking your players to work on theirs. You work on yours. Good luck and have a great season.
Joe's Decision, Unleashed Potential, Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Joe's Decision, Unleashed Potential. This month's question is, we ask our players to improve on their game during the off season. So what do we do as coaches to try and improve ourselves in the off season? I think as a coach, we have to have the same sense of urgency in improving ourselves personally and professionally, just as we ask our players to do. One of the things that I like to do is to attend college practices, work with and go see strength and performance coaches from different colleges and professional teams and see how they work with their athletes. I also like to go to NBA practices to observe some of the things that they're doing in player development. I think, we always have to keep things fresh. I think that you have to make it your own. So a lot of things that I see, I would try and make my own by tweaking it a little bit, adding some of my own personal things that I do professionally with player development. I think all those things are important. I don't think you can just copy someone. I think you just need to get some ideas and maybe somehow make it your own. I just think that that's really important to do, because I think as a coach, you have to keep up with the times. You have to be able to relate to kids, just see what's out there in order to improve as a coach. The other thing I like to do is listen to podcasts. I will read books. 2 books that I've been reading, that I've read, that I currently recommend are Alan Stein's Raise Your Game and also Kevin Eastman, Why the Best Are the Best. I think, some of that stuff is very, very important in terms of your professional development. So I really believe, again, that you have to get out there and see things and experience new ways of teaching things, because as a player development coach, things have to be fresh for your players. I mean, you have to keep them engaged, and I just feel like there's a lot of different ways to teach different skills in player development. So I'm always looking for different ways to teach things, different ideas. I'm what you might call a learn-it-all. I feel as long as I've been in a game for many, many years, I'm always trying to learn more. Whether it's from maybe even a high school coach, a middle school coach, whoever it may be. It doesn't have to be college, it doesn't have to be professional. I think some of our best coaches, some of our best teaching goes on at the high school level. So, and also with USA Basketball, speaking for USA Basketball, working their regional camps and clinics, learning from other coaches at those things. Even though I am a speaker for the National Coaches Academies, I always love to take notes and sit there and learn from the other coaches that are there. So I think all those things combined are very, very important. We can never stop growing as a coach, just like we ask our players. We always say skills never graduate. Well, I think as a coach, you never graduate either. You're always trying to get better. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out this month's Roundtable. We'll be back next month with another question for our all-star lineup of coaches.
Thanks for listening to the Hoop Heads podcast, presented by Head Start Basketball.